Hi everyone, it's Sue here. I thought today we'd start a new project, and this is a project I saw on a channel called Treasure Books, and I really like the channel and I get quite a lot of inspiration from it. And what I liked about it was this particular one journal is called an exposed half spine journal, and I just thought it made a nice difference. A nice change. So I've made a prototype. Now I haven't embellished anything inside because this prototype is literally mine, for me only, to practice on, to, you know, mess about with. It's my kind of guinea pig journal, but I just wanted to show you because this is what the journal will look like. So it's made out of packaging. The cover is made out of packaging. And then it has a small spine, as you can see here, and the signatures, there are 3 signatures in here. I mean, yeah, they're all plain, as I say. They're not, I never embellished them with a view to showing you anything. I've been practicing my sewing. I'm not sewing anything that I might wish to sell because I don't feel that my sewing is good enough. But I've been practicing my sewing, making pockets and things before I put the signatures in. But this has 3 signatures, and you need, in order to make this, now you can sew the signatures with a pamphlet stitch and then attach them in. It's entirely up to you. I haven't. I have just made this small spine, and I've made these accordingly, and I've just used lots of scrapbook pad paper, really, scraps of it, scraps that have been in a folder. That's the centre of that signature. You can put whatever you like in, but bear in mind that it does have to be quite robust because you're going to slit either end to fit the spine. So that's the second signature. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of, you know, messing about really. And this is just going to be my kind of guinea pig journal. It's going to be for me to practice on when I want to, you know, think about doing something. And so therefore I'm not too worried about, you know, the mixture of papers. And this is the last signature, and what's so nice about this is they all lay flat. So so yeah, I've used up lots and lots of scrap pad papers, mainly double-sided. Some are thicker than others, you know, where I've used them for like, they're 12 by 12s most of them, and where I've used them for other things, I've then, you know, had scraps left over like we always do, and so I've just, you know, popped them in. This one's even got a bit of a crease in it. It doesn't really matter because, as I say, I'm going to use this for my mixed media experiments. I covered it in some more scrapbook pad paper, and then I lined the inside with some more scrapbook paper out of a pad, and this was out of the Heritage stack. So this is single-sided paper, so it's perfect for covering things really, and there's some lovely designs on those 12 by 12s. And then you cut your papers down, so you cut your spine down. You have to make this spine extremely strong, so this has got about 3 layers in it. This one was made out of, this cover was made out of a cereal box. Cereal boxes have a natural spine in them, so they're ideal to use, and all you need to do is just take your cereal box, open it out on one side, and then use the natural spine down the other side and cut your size out accordingly, and then you're going to trim down that spine. So I covered it with lace. I've layered it up with more cardboard from the cereal packet, and then you tie the signatures round because when you've got your signature ready, you're going to slip down to exactly the same size as this spine, either top and bottom, either end, and then you're going to just tie your string round whatever you're going to use. And then at that point, before you tie it off, you want to, if you're going to embellish it with beads like I have, that's the time to do that. And also, before you put your signature in, if you do plan on doing any sewing in it whatsoever, you need to do that before you attach your signature in here. So that's what we're going to make, hopefully. So this one is going to be a serious one, whereas I don't class this as particularly serious, because it's mine and it's messy and it's exactly what I wanted, and I'm going to look forward to playing about with it, you know, off camera. It's nice to have a bit of time to make things off camera. And this is just a file folder, an old piece of file folder, and I've used that as a cover for each signature because, again, I want to play with mixed media on those. So I think it turns out quite pretty. Yeah, I really liked it. I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. So let's get started. So this one, size wise, and you can make it whatever your size you've got. And if you haven't got serial packet, then get a piece of packaging cardboard and make your spine. Make your spine using your scoreboard, or if you haven't got a scoreboard, measure a spine out, use your ruler, and use something, if you haven't got one of these here to make it, bone folders, I don't know, a knife, back of a knife would do. Something that you can actually make a groove with down there, and then you just make your groove the other side so that you make your spine. So you don't need fancy equipment to do it. So let's pop that to one side. So I was going to tell you, sorry, I do get waylaid, don't I? So this is 6 inches wide and it is 8 inches tall, and the spine piece that I made is, let me have a look, let's just stand it up so it's quite easy to manipulate, is just under 1.5 inches wide. Again, you can make it, so it is actually 1.5, I think, if I remember rightly. You can make it whatever size you wanted, and I only put 3 signatures in because obviously I'm planning to add bits and things in, you know. Yeah, and that's not very tight, that one, but you know, you need to, when we get to that stage, I'll show you, and you need to really tighten that and knot it. So as I say, this is just for me, so I'm not too worried about it, because if I really wanted to, I could put another couple of lines of these in to keep that on the straight and narrow. All right, okay, so for this one, I didn't have a cereal box really handy unless I tip the cereal out, or you know, leave it out in the cupboard. But I found this. Now this must have been packaging from a box, and I just thought I quite liked it and I kept it, and it's got the natural spine. Now this spine is again just over 1.5 inches wide, or for those who like centimetres, it's 4 centimetres wide. Now I decided for this one I'm going to go a bit smaller. So what I want is, I want mine to be 6.5 inches tall, and I want it to be 6 inches wide. So it's going to be there tall and to there in width, so 6.5 Yeah, so I think that will be fine. So I'm just going to flatten this down, okay, and I'm just going to measure my 6.5 inches either side, because then I'm going to have to use the paper trimmer. So I'm going to take it from this groove here. So I want 6 inches wide there on that side, and taking it from that groove there and 6 inches there. So let's get the paper trimmer out. Hope it plays ball with me today, because the paper trimmer does play up. Oh, and I hope I can get this in. Now that could be a problem. So okay, so we may have to do the sides first. What I wanted to do is trim the top before. Let's do the sides. So we've got the sides there. I'll make sure, because it's very temperamental, this is. I have not got round to, I think at Christmas I was going to buy a guillotine. I have got a small guillotine, a sort of A5. I want an A4 size guillotine, and I bought one from Amazon. It was I didn't look at the reviews. My husband thinks that's terrible. He's a review guy. He always looks at the reviews. So I'm just going to see if I can trim the top down now to make that not quite. So might have to do it on the guillotine, see if it will go through. Yeah, so he said to me, why didn't you review it? When it came, it wasn't a cheap one, it was kind of middle of the road price. It was appalling, and I tried it out and it didn't even cut. It said it cut through several layers of this, that and everything else, and it didn't at all. Now this possibly might make the top edge even worse than it was. Let's have a look. No, that's fine. That's a lot better. Okay, right. So if we take that as our top edge, you know, I'm very disappointed that even this paper trimmer doesn't go up that far. Okay, so we don't want it any narrower. So in theory this should be now 6 inches. So that would be in centimetres, that's just about 15.25. In inches it's 6. And now we want to measure down. So luckily enough it opens out flat. So now I want to measure down the height, and I want it to be 6.5 inches. 6.5 inches there, and 6.5 inches there. Now we have a dilemma about how we're going to get this cut. Well, that doesn't look right to me. That is my biggest concern. I may end up ruining this piece. I'm going to have to go downstairs and see if we've got any started cereal. See, that was an inch, half an inch. What's up with me? Right. Okay. So in theory, I might be able to join the dots. Oh, I'm not brilliant at any of this. I'm just going to do a faint pencil mark right across and hope that meets up, and it does. So guess what? I'm going to have to cut it my hand, and I I have got to make sure I stay on. Oh, this is really tough to cut. And if there's any ripping, it's got to be that bottom bit, because that we don't really want that at the moment, although I could have maybe used it for something. I'm struggling now. Let's get this lighter pair of scissors, might help me a bit better. We are covering this anyway, as long as it's not too jagged. Right, let's turn it round and cut from this side. Right, okay. Right, let's put that to one side. Let's just neaten that off a little bit. Like so. Right, okay. So let me see, is that going to be a nice... Oh, I don't know. This does not look right to me. 6 by... It is 6 by 6.5. Looks too wide. Do I want it that wide? Do I want it 5.5? I'm going to cut a little bit off. I'm not happy with that. I didn't really envisage what it would actually look like. I don't know, it doesn't look right to me. That's one. And that one. So, you know, oops, just knock the other paper cutter down. There's no set rule about size. It's what you prefer. And I just didn't like I didn't like that, the way that was looking. So, and there's always room to manoeuvre. This is all straight now. So there, that to me looks a lot better. Yeah, that top, I don't think that's dead straight, but that's better. That's better. Right. It's not, you see, it's not straight, so I'm going to use that as my guide, folding it over. Oh dear, you know, I'm like for hand cutting anything. Right, now, oh, that's much better. Now I'm happy with that. All right, bet you're glad about that. Okay, so let's just put these scissors back for a minute. Sorry, that was a bit clanky. So I'm going to use, I'm going to let it fold the natural way it wants to fold, which is like that. And then the next step is to mark on here what you want for your spine. So I have got, so I have made a few notes, and that's what I was referring to. So we've got a 6.5 inch spine, and I think if we had a 2 inch top, 2 inches top and bottom, so again I'm opening mine out, so I'm lucky I can do that. So I'm just going to mark 2 inch there and 2 inches up from the bottom there, and I think that is going to be our spine. 2 there and 2 there. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to cut down to this spine. Okay, so I'm going to cut down carefully to that mark there. Okay, and I'm going to cut down to the other mark here on the same line, which is there, like that. Okay, let's do the same the other side. I'm going to measure it exactly the same, 2 inches there and 2 inches there. Okay, so like so. Okay, so then you want to bend these over. So I'm turning it over and I'm just lifting that up like so. So making sure that is 2 inches. So I'm bending it in the right place. Okay, I'm going to use my ruler and lift that up and just flat that up like that. And I'm going to do the same here and there, like so. And to strengthen your spine, you can use these flaps. So I am going to just trim mine down here like so, and then where that joins I'm just going to trim that bit off like so, and you'll see why. It doesn't have to be accurate, you want it to lay flat. So take your bone folder now and just give that a burnish and do the same here. Okay, so this needs a bit of a trim down this side because it's a little bit too wide there. Just need to take a tiny slither out of it because then I don't want it to impede on this. So in actual fact, I can just afford to take a shaving off here. Like so. And a shaving, I think, off of this one. This can be tricky. You can use your knife actually. Might be easier. This is all being covered up, so don't worry too much about how it's looking at the moment. What you want is just to make sure you've strengthened that spine like so, checking that you are not going to be impeded. That's still okay. And I'm going to use my Beacon 3-in-1 to glue that down like that. Okay, just gonna re-burnish those like so. Now this is corrugated was slightly corrugated, so I don't want to press too hard on it, otherwise it's going to split in the grooves. But I am going to cover it. I haven't thought about what I'm covering it with yet. I don't think I'm going to cover it this time in scrapbook pad paper. So that needs to dry. So I think we will take a couple of our clips and make sure that the tooth bit, see there's a little tooth there, it's just a gripper, but it will mark your piece, so I don't want the groovy bit there. So yeah, one side is worse than the other, I think, for that. Okay, just gonna keep those like that for a minute, just to give that some time to dry. Okay, so we've done that, and what we want to do is probably, we're going to put another piece of cardstock over here, or cardboard, and reinforce that a bit more. And we're going to see if I've got some scraps of card, so I might as well use one of those. So this is bits of the packaging I've been using, so we might as well stick with brown, and I'm just cutting that down. Put that to one side. These bits do come in handy, and I'm just cutting it smaller, narrower, and slightly shorter top and bottom, so about there. And this piece is going to reinforce that on that side. Don't forget, you're going to be wrapping around your string or cord or whatever it is you're using, thread. So I'm just taking a slither off that. I'll just hold on one moment. Okay, right, so I'm just going to take the clips off now. That should have adhered by now. Okay, I've already cut out 2 more pieces of packaging card just to strengthen that spine even more. You know, can't stress enough how much you need to strengthen that spine, really. Okay. Oh, what's the matter with this? Hello, Paddy. What are you up to, mate? Pacing up and down. Does a lot of pacing, this dog. It's coming. Right. Thank goodness. Never had a problem with this coming out. Only when it gets right down to the bottom. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that on top of there like so, and hold that for a few seconds. Again, it does not have to be perfect, and we can still open and shut our spine perfectly well. I turn it over, so this, as you can see, is the back of some more food packaging. I've done quite a bit with the food packaging lately, and I don't seem to have used much at all. Right, and that bit's just going down there like that in the middle of there. And again, I'm just going to hold that down for a few seconds, like so. So we have a very chunky, strong spine. Okay, so the other thing that we need to do is we need to strengthen the insides of these. So you can strengthen the front or the back, it's up to you. It's just extra spine. We've done extra spine and we're just going to do extra cover. So we're going to, again, this is packaging, this is Amazon packaging here. So all I'm doing is just refreshing my memory that it's 6.5 by 5.5. So I want it just below those. I want 2 pieces. So, oh, I've got a tiny little money spider on my desk just there. Oh, just going to, oh, can you see him? Just put him up there on the windowsill for a minute. Right. So it's 5.5 wide. So we want it just a tiny bit under. So I'm going to go in the middle of this packaging, I think. I hope this is going to be not too big for my paper cutting out. Oh, that's perfect. Right, make sure it's straight at the bottom because the top edge might not be particularly straight. So it hasn't quite cut. So I have to get it back on there. Don't want to start a new cut. Right. Okay, that's that side. And then just move that out of the way. So where's my mark? Oh, it's at the bottom. Right, that's okay. Right. So again, just making sure. Give that a few goes. He looks annoyed because I just threw that excess bit of cardboard onto the floor just temporarily. But he's not the one that tidies up, so I don't know what he's worrying about. So we want it to be, we want 2 that are, what did I say? Okay, 6.5 just under. So I'm always checking and double checking my measurements. I bet I can't get 2 pieces out of that. Oh. Okay. Still, this piece left over will make a very nice tag or journal card, you see. So that will be very handy. Just check that that's on my board, that that's looking straight. Okay, so that's one, and that's just going to be glued on top of there like that to give that thicker layer. I'll just get the other piece back. The other side of this packaging actually has all the labels on, so I didn't really want to use that. I'll just take these edges off. Right. Okay. And so I think let's measure this one out on here. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And then I know they're going to be the same. just throwing it on the floor. I will tidy it up, much to Paddy's disgust. He doesn't tidy up anyway. In fact, if anything, he makes a mess. He loves to burst open a soft toy and remove all the stuffing. That's one of his favourite pastimes in the world. Somehow I've managed to do that one too tall. Yeah, he's never happy if he's not making a mess, and he likes toilet roll cores, and he tosses those around. Comes and asks you to play tug of war with him. And obviously they rip, and the pieces get smaller and smaller, and he still wants you to play tug of war. So again, that will make a nice journal card or something. Right, we're not going to throw that away. Okay, so I just want to see, don't want these quite to the edge. They're just right. So I'm going to now glue those down. I think to the inside, like that. And it doesn't matter if you'll be able to see some white because they are going to cover it. But we're not doing that today. So all I wanted to do was show you how to prepare your spine. And then start thinking about your signatures. If you're going to join in with this, start thinking about your signatures. And I'm going to link Treasure Book's video below. She does some beautiful work. And she makes everything look so easy, but she always writes instructions down as well, which you can take a screenshot of, which is very helpful. So that's one side, and yeah, some of her ideas are sort of, to me, they're newish. I'm sure they've been done by other people as well, in different forms. Everyone's got their own interpretation, you see, of all these different projects. And that's what's so great, seeing how everyone interprets things. I think is amazing. So that's going to go on there like so. And we'll just make sure we can still shut that. Okay. So let's get that pressed down. So that's good. Okay, so now what the best thing to do is to try and leave that somewhere flat. Now I'm not going to cover mine with book page like Treasure Books. I'm sorry, I don't know. I must know her name, but I've forgotten it. Anyway, she's in Australia. She's lovely. I really admire her work. It's really nice. So that is going to be it for this video. So in the next video, I will have decided what I'm going to use to cover mine with. I might go for some material. I've already thought about the papers for the signatures. So, as I say, you need fairly sturdy papers. So, I had a look through my stash, and I've got, so I'm going to do 3 signatures. So I've got an envelope for each signature, which we may put in. And I've got this card here, which I thought would make a nice cover for each signature. But it's going to have to be cut down. So that will be too big at the moment. And then I've got some plain paper here we might use. And I've got some sort of digital tea and coffee dyed papers, like old parchment style papers, to mix it up. And then the rest of them are going to be the Tim Holtz scrapbook papers. So I've got 3 of his 8x8s, those, and I have been back and looked through my 12x12s in the wallflower, so I've picked out 3 sheets to go in each one. So obviously they're going to be cut down, but these all out of the wallflower scrapbook pad that is Tim Holtz, and we're going to have to cut those down in a certain way. So I thought the backs of them are really lovely too. Just look at the back. So they're double-sided, which is nice. So this one, we may just use 1/2 and fold it. So that's kind of 2 signatures. And the same for that one. I do like the backs. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. I've got some of the wallflower vellum pack that went with this scrapbook pad, but obviously vellum would not be good as a signature because of wrapping something round. I don't think it would be strong enough, so that's what I'm going to use, a mixture of all those for my signatures. So I will probably get my signatures ready to show you next time, because I don't really think you need to see me cutting down all the papers. I think you've seen that many times. So next time, in the next video, we will be making the signatures, or at least I'll show you the ones I've kind of thinking of, and I'll show you what we have to do with those once we've got them to the right size, and then we'll cover this in the next video. Okay, take care everyone, see you soon, bye bye.